I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit. All right, y'all. It's another day in the books. It's Wednesday. It is a decent day. It's a lot cooler than it has been, so I think that is a good thing for sure. I can definitely appreciate that. Hopefully, you have had a productive day. I have had a super busy day today. Lots of things that are in the works. Definitely super excited. Stay tuned for that. I'll be rolling that information out here kind of as we go. Um, but man, a lot of partnerships going on right now, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. We're going to continue to capitalize and take advantage of the relationships that we're making and cultivating. As I said before, my challenge was for you to reach out to 5 new people that you haven't met before and see what you can do to cultivate, establish a relationship in whatever way you deem that to be useful for you. So for me, of course, it's about G2, right? So how can we partner with folks, work with people, help them with their mission, have them help us with our mission, and help each other. So definitely super excited for things that are happening. So like I said, that information will be coming out as we go along. I want to send out a shout out to Erica. She is a consultant for us. And she lives out in Spain. So we had a chance to have a conversation with her. Found out today that she actually watches The Conduit. So The Conduit is international. So I think that's pretty awesome that is the case. So I'm thankful to her. We're getting ready to do some things now. And so super excited for that. But I'm coming on here. I'm not going to be on for a long time, but I do want to share a few pieces of information for you tonight. Let me just make sure that everything is good. I know this is not a scheduled show tonight, but there's some information that's happening tomorrow that you need to know about. So I want to make sure that you have that information and you can share it accordingly because that is important to do. All right. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you. And so there's going to be one thing that I'm going to ask for you to share with folks. And the other thing is information for your edification. So tomorrow, Lend a Hand Community Outreach Drive-Through Food Event. Farmers to Families, build bridge and bless our communities. Okay, so that is tomorrow, Thursday, July 15. And that will be going on from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can take advantage of that at 4202 Wheaton Way in Bremerton, Washington, 98310. They do ask that you please wear a mask. Please clear your trunk so you have space for food, and please remain in your vehicles as their teams will be assisting with loading your items. Okay. So that is tomorrow. I know many of our viewers have taken advantage of the Thursday meal run. So that is good. It is happening tomorrow. So again, please spread the word there that is available tomorrow. Again, that is 10:30 to 2 p.m. Right outside of Boost Mobile. So the folks that are putting it on look like God's Broken Home University, Boost Mobile. I know I've seen some other community members over there helping and volunteering to get the food to folks and load it into their trunk. So, absolutely a lot of good food there. So I know that food prices have been increasing. So do take advantage of that. That is really important. So that information is there for you there. Like I said, do take advantage of that. And the other thing that I wanted to share was this. This is sad and it's unfortunate. But these folks that are bringing the food to you and doing what they can have unfortunately had their trailer stolen. Okay. Uh, People stealing, especially when you're trying to help, you know, stealing is already a very hurtful thing. Um, but when something is stolen that you are using to help other people, that just makes it even harder. You know what I mean? Um, so that is tremendously frustrating. Okay. So they are asking for you to be on the lookout for the trailer. Okay. So someone literally stole this trailer. Hard to believe, but it is true. Okay. So the license plate on this trailer is Oscar Kilo 8583 Golf Echo. Okay. It is a white 2009 dry van uh, with the code on it, MEQZ 901311. Okay, so please use this photo for identification. But this trailer was stolen. So if anyone knows where this trailer is, if anyone knows any information about this trailer, uh, you can contact me, or you can contact the folks from the Farmers to Families drive-through food, and pass that information along. Obviously this trailer is used to bring the food into the community, so this is a particularly vile act. So please, if you do know who has the trailer, uh, you know help them out in getting the trailer back. These resources are not cheap. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort for people to put this stuff on. And we need to continue to be able to help, right? So again, that license plate is Oscar Kite 8583 Golf Echo. Okay. And that is a picture of the trailer there. Okay. All right. So again, that is tomorrow. That is Farmers to Family. That is the drive-through food event, which is on Thursday, 10:30 to 2 p.m. You just pull up and keep your mask on. They ask for you to put your mask on. You'll pop your trunk. They'll load the food into your trunk. Lots of good food to be had. So please spread the word on that. Okay. All right. The other thing is, again, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of our shows, please go to YouTube and go ahead and type my name, Marwan Cameron. That is the fastest way to find me, as there are many who have the moniker of the Conduit. And so you'll see all kinds of different things if you type in the Conduit and you try to find us. So just type in my first and last name as it is written there, MarwanCameron. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. Set your reminders so that anytime that we go live or have a scheduled broadcast, you will be alerted to it. Okay. That helps us, and it definitely helps the community, especially the community, because you're likely to hear something that you can pass on to others. You can also follow us on Facebook at our Gather Together, Grow Together Facebook page. And so you can just type that in and you will find that. And then the last place that you can find us is my Facebook page, which is Marwan Cameron. What I will tell you is, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you won't miss any content, because everything that we do will always be on YouTube. I guess I shouldn't say always. There's no absolutes, right? But it will typically be on YouTube. Now, whether or not content appears on my personal page versus Gather Together, Grow Together's page really just depends on what the subject matter is, right? There are some things that I reserve and I keep off of the G2 page, and vice versa. So, again, if you want to make sure that you get that information and get all the content as it comes to you, please go ahead and subscribe. And again, and share the information, right? We had a really good event last week where we had landlords and we had Kitsap Community Resources and Kitsap County officials and the Bremerton Housing Authority all coming together to have a conversation. And that was one of the things that one of my meetings today, my local meeting that wasn't international, was about, continuing that on and establishing something and continuing to bring information, bring people together to get information into the hands of those that need it and continue to provide a voice to those that haven't had a voice. So that's really important to us. We want to do some things that haven't been done before. And it's so nice to have, support in, Christina Rourke and also Deborah Jackson and Karen Vargas. So, it's nice to see that folks are saying, hey, you know what? We see what you're doing. We like what you're doing. And we want to help grow that, right? We want to, help to support the mission of being the conduit. And getting that information into the hands of folks, and then also allowing those folks, or whoever the entities are on either side of the proverbial conduit, to be able to hear information and also express themselves either through questions or comments or ideas or whatever the case may be. And so definitely honored by that, that they would partner with me and G2 and the conduit to continue to work and establish some new ways of conducting business here in the county and trying to bring us together as a community. So definitely appreciative of that. So I want to thank those ladies and of course our helpers, Sabrina and Daniel, that helped us out last week to get everything set up. And of course, my team for sure, because they are awesome. Let's see, anything else that I want to kind of tell you about today before I get out of here tonight? I will be leaving town, so you will see the conduit if all goes well. Because I don't really know how to take a break. I'm still working on the self-care piece. I will be on the East Coast for a few days, visiting my little cousin who's graduated from high school and getting ready to go to an HBCU. So she's going to be attending Morgan State. So I'm going to fly out there and celebrate with her. Definitely very proud of her accomplishment. It's unfortunate that she had to have her senior year during COVID, but she did all the things and graduated strong, and so we need to celebrate that. So I'm going to fly out there and honor her, spend time with my aunt, and try to connect with my brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews while I'm on that side. So I'll be doing that, but I will be taking my equipment down there to continue to do the shows and do the work. So we'll see how that goes. As I said before, I may get down there and they'll tell me, no, you ain't doing no work. You're going to just sit here and just relax a bit. So we'll see if I learn how to engage in a little bit of self-care or not, but for me, this is part of that self-care piece. I like serving the community, providing information to folks that they can use, that they hopefully will find helpful. So that's very motivating and satisfying for me to do and rewarding. So, I don't necessarily look at it as, oh man, I got this to do, or I got that to do. It's a lot, and there are times like, man, I am tired today. I don't have it, but you continue forward because someone needs the information that you have, and sometimes people just need your presence, and you won't always know that. um I think my day started that way today, and it was interesting. Sometimes you just kind of get this thing where it's like, you know what, I need to um reach out to this person and just, check in with them. And so I did that. And, that turned into, are you available and can we have a conversation? It's like, yeah, we can have a conversation. So, he came over and we talked for a couple hours, and it was something that he needed. Right. And, that is one of the things that I do in my capacity. Um, I like to believe that I am a good listener and give sound advice. But of course, that advice is in the eyes of the beholder, of course. But it's kind of like back to my advising days. I advise, you decide. Um, but I am a good listener, and folks uh, have come to trust, being able to share their thoughts and ideas, their concerns, their fears, their goals, their dreams. And sometimes they just want you to listen. They don't want any feedback. They don't want you to try to fix it. They just want you to listen. Right. And sometimes folks just need to vent and get it out. In a safe space where they can say things that, if they were said in different arenas, folks would take it the wrong way, but they're literally just frustrated, at a moment in time. And it's helpful just to be able to just get that off and just say, okay, it's out there, I've said it. Doesn't matter whether it's rational or not, doesn't matter if it's crazy or not, this is how I feel right in this moment. And I was able to get it out to another human being that can listen to it and not pass judgment on me. And that is very helpful for folks to be able to do. So if you don't have someone like that in your life, I do encourage you to get that person, um, because that can be very helpful. And then what I try to tell folks is, do what you can to not hold on um, to that, right? Many times, and especially men, we are supposed to just deal with it. We kind of navigate life like it's a Nike ad, right? Just do it, and that's not how it is. And so we end up just kind of going along and pushing it down and pushing it down to the point where we end up blowing up, right? So it's just Mount Vesuvius ready to go, uh and then we end up having to apologize to folks, depending on how bad we exploded or whatever, and we didn't deal with the situation in a way that it could have been dealt with, and sometimes it makes the situation worse. So I definitely implore you to find that person that you can have that conversation with, um, be vulnerable with, right? With your ideas and your thoughts that aren't going to weaponize those things against you at a later date. And that's very hard to establish that. When we first started this podcast, we talked about friendship and what were the qualities of a friend, and increasing your sphere of support, um, and influence. And with all those things, right, you're still trying to navigate. And many of us have had, just bad luck with relationships, whether they're, um, romantic or just, friendships, right? Where you think you have this friend and they're supposed to be down like four flat tires, and I would do this for you and I would do that for you, and, this, that, and the other. And then you come to find out that that isn't the case. And once we get burned, especially if we get burned over and over and over again, we can tighten up and just feel like, what, I'm good. I'm not going to allow anyone to get close to me, because if I do, then that puts me in a situation where I can be hurt, and I don't want to be hurt. So we kind of close ourselves off. But by doing that, we're not able to, we lose something from that, right? We lose something from that, from being so guarded and not having these people that we can count on. because we don't want to, put ourselves in a situation where we're going to be betrayed, right? That our words are going to be weaponized against us, or, see, I told you, this is what this was about, or however those things go. So, it is difficult, and it is hard. Those things can take time to cultivate. Um, and you have to have the develop your power of discernment, right? I think that you should do keep give people chances, trust but verify, allow some time to uh, go past, see, you may even, test that friendship, whatever that situation is, and maybe provide some lower level information that if it gets to someone else, it's no big deal, but whether or not, this person is able to keep what you say in confidence or not. And so those are some things that you can do also. You'll see how they are with the people that they interact with. Are they constantly telling you about other people's business and drama and whatnot? It's one thing that I tell folks a lot is, you really have to mind what you say about folks when they're not in the room, right? And if you do it at such a common interval, and sometimes that happens, right? Where, you see you're around some folks, and these folks are just talking about this particular person like a dog, right? And it's like, wow, man, you are going in on this person. And it's like, then you get to thinking, like, well, wait a minute. What are y'all saying about me when I'm not here? You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about this person like a dog, what are you saying about this person? What would you be saying about me, right? If we fall out or we have a disagreement, right? Are you just throwing me under the bus? See if I got some bus marks there behind me and see what's going on. I don't know what's happening. So, it's just one of those things. So, it takes time to do it. But I would say if you've been hurt before, like many of us have, try not to let that, um, make your decision for you, where it's like, you know what, I'm good. I'll just keep it to myself. The other thing too is, man, I wish I could find it really quick. This Saturday, the Professional Leaders of Color had a conference about, and the topic was about men, right? And they were talking about, they talked about a lot of things, and the actual topic escapes me. I'm going to try to pull this up really quickly so I can share it with you. But one of the things that was talked about was the fact that, men need to have mental health counseling also. And so, uh, that is tremendously important. And so it was a health forum for men and families of color. Okay. And so that's what that was. I don't know if there's going to be a rebroadcast of that or not. If there is, I will share that information with you. But there are four men on the panel, and they kind of talked about their perspectives of being a man and men's health, from their vantage point. And one of the things that had come up, was the conversation of mental health, speaking with a counselor. And that caused me to ask a question to one of the panelists about, should a man, black men in particular, seek out, a male counselor, and should they seek out a male counselor that is also, let's say, black, right? So should I seek out a black male counselor? Because he may be more likely to identify with my experiences, right? Some people want, some women wouldn't feel comfortable talking to a male counselor. They would want a female counselor because they may be able to identify, and empathize and sympathize with some of the things that they're going through, from the unique experiences of being a woman, right? And so, at the end of the day, I think counseling is important. They talked about advocacy, right? Advocating for yourself. And, You don't have to feel like, hey, look, I tried out this mental health counselor and I'm just not vibing with this counselor, right? You can go and say, you know what, this isn't working out. I'm going to go and find another counselor, but thank you, and that's the same thing with medical doctors too. It's already hard for men to go to the doctor, right? We just don't go to the doctor, just kind of traditionally. We just suck it up, buttercup. We just handle it, rub some dirt on it. But mental health counseling is important. So is um, your physical health. And so oftentimes, hey, look, we're busy. We don't have a lot of time. It already took a lot for us to get here. So tell me what it is, doc, but I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of experiences where, um, you know, I just didn't have good experiences with the doctors. They were constantly rushing me. One, they were late, right? So you want me to be 15 minutes early to my appointment, which I am, and then you're 20 minutes late to coming in to see me, and then you act like you got only 2 minutes to talk to me, and I don't feel like I've been able to express what's going on with me, right? And I've been waiting 3 weeks to 6 weeks to get in to see you in the first place. And so if that's your experience, then you have a right to change, your medical professional, right? And so you do need to advocate for yourself. That is tremendously important. And also remember that although doctors have gone to school for a tremendous amount of years to learn, what they know in their field, they don't know everything, right? And so your experience may be, hey, I don't know what this is. I think I know what this is. Let's go ahead and try this. We'll, see how your body reacts to the medicine. If that doesn't work, we'll, increase the dosage. We'll decrease the dosage. We'll change the dosage. We'll try something else. So all those things can be happening all at the same time, right? So some of it is experiment, right? Uh, and they're not just shooting in the dark, right? I mean, they've got an idea of what they should try to do to try to help you. But I encourage you to do your research. So if you have an ailment or if there's something that's going on with you, it's in your best interest to try to do a little bit of research and find out what it is. So that you can and pay attention to what your symptoms are, what you're feeling. Write those things down. Write down the date and the time. And keep a little journal of that, because most times you're not going to get into the doctor immediately unless it's some type of an emergency. So if it's been 3 weeks or 6 weeks before you get into a doctor, oftentimes you've had a myriad of symptoms that you will not remember when you're in front of that doctor for that little 5-minute time period when you're trying to rapid fire and have this recall of what's going on. And Murphy's Law will say, hey, by the time I get into the doctor, I'm not having any symptoms. So it's like, hey, so what brings you in today? And you're like, well, I was having this issue, but I haven't had it in a while, so I can't really describe how it was. I can only be really vague about it because I haven't experienced it in 3 days, of course, But if you had got me in last week, I could have told you that it was this, that, and the other, and what times and everything else. But time has passed now. My mind has moved on, and I'm not currently suffering from this issue. So it's good to write those things down. It's very helpful. So I encourage you to do that. I think you'll gain a better result if you participate in your own health care, both physical and mental. I think that's really important. And two, yes, do seek out um, mental health counseling. We're going through a lot of stress in this country, right? And if you think about just being an individual and all the things that we have to go through on a day-to-day basis, uh, that's already tremendously hard and stressful. Then you add the things that we could be going through, um, health issues, um, things like someone could have passed away, issues with your work, just whatever it is, right? um, you have those things going on. Then you have more macro things that could be happening at your job that you don't have a lot of control over, or things like you start working at a national level or an international level, right? There are things that are happening in a loved one's state, or there's politics, or there's this, or there's that, or you've got family in Haiti. um, or you just feel for, our folks over there, or whatever the case may be, and you pile all that stuff on. And we can only take on so much. In your body, your mind in particular is like this well oiled machine, right? It's like an exotic automobile, so you have to really take care of it, right? And so you have to be diligent about that and really kind of think about it in that way. And that's why I think a lot of people that are religious and seek out and connect in those ways, it's really important for them, because they're able to get their spiritual and and be fed, um, and that helps with their mental health, right? That gives them a space to fill themselves up and to build their resilience, so that they can persist on and hopefully persist through in a space where they're not feeling just defeated and beat down while they're going through what they're going through. I often say that my dad is the strongest man that I knew, and he went through so many different adversities, right? Um, and he took on things that it's like, uh, you didn't have to do that, but he was compelled or called to do these things, and it put him under a tremendous amount of stress. And there were other things that he would have to face along with it, which is tough, right? And he would go through things where I would see other folks go through stuff, and it would just crush or destroy them. And it's like, man, how are you going through this stuff and you're still like, praise the Lord and God is good and genuinely happy, like you could feel it. This wasn't fake, right? um, and watching that, and that's what he had, right? He had religion. It was strong with him, and that was able to, that sustained him and it fed him, throughout his life all the way through the end. uh, and then that's powerful. I'm definitely say envious of that in a good way, right? Like, if I had that level of oh I don't know, would say belief is the right word, but if my spirituality was that strong in that way, it's like, man, I could go through anything. And not to say that it's not going to hurt, that it's not going to be, painful and stressful, and you're not going to be sad or angry. But, he was able to, definitely, persevere in a way that, I mean, I've seen people that really, really hard for them to do. So what I'm looking for here is I did get I think maybe I took a picture of it. There is a black male counselor in the Manette area, if I'm not mistaken. And I wanted to share that information out to you. Let me see if I can find it. I take so many pictures of things that I think are cool. And then all of a sudden, my phone is inundated with pictures, and no, I do not have this picture. So I don't know what I did with it, but I'm going to find it. I'm going to reach out to some folks, and they talked about it on the podcast, who this gentleman was. Uh, and if anyone is listening or later on is listening to this, you can put that in the chat. That would be helpful and powerful for those of us that are looking for um, a man counselor and, a black male counselor, for those of us that are seeking that. I think that's really powerful. I can tell you he's probably going to get booked up pretty quick, once this gets out, if he's not already booked up. But yeah, I definitely encourage you to do that. Um, so very important. So very important, especially for this time. If you have a family that is counting on you, they are counting on you to be physically healthy, and they're counting on you to be mentally healthy. Um, we can talk a little bit about it, but I want folks to kind of have their eyes wide open. I did a podcast with Reverend Ellington yesterday, just kind of, reflecting on the state of the world and what's going on with the Karen situation, right? But there's a lot of civil unrest and just general stress, right? There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of murder uh, that's going on in our country right now, in our inner cities, our hip hop artists. Uh, it is, oh my God. And you're seeing, women that are being tremendously violent now in alarmingly increasing numbers. You're just seeing it. And I know, with social media, we have more access to these things. I mean, but people are committing crimes on Instagram and Facebook Live. And I mean, it's like we have lost our minds. We really have. And it's scary. And at the same time, I was listening to Governor Inslee earlier, and we're talking about the wildfires and the heat and the smoke, right? We're still due for our big earthquake out here. Um, which at some point is going to come. Who knows how much destruction that's going to cause? Governor was talking about the heat warping our roads and messing up our infrastructure, and we've got aging bridges and roads that need to be repaired. So all these things are so important, right? We still have um, COVID epidemic that's going on. I believe Washington State is one of the states where we are seeing an increase in COVID, and we're seeing an increase in that Delta variant. And I think that should be alarming to people because it is warm outside. It's hot. You know what I'm saying? Today was a nice day, but it was a hot day today. Not triple digits, but it was hot. It's hot. So people are out, right? They're not, just stacked on top of each other. Um, but if we are increasing the cases of COVID and we're not reaching that 70, 80, 90%, so that we can reach herd immunity, what is going to happen when we get back into flu season and we go back indoors, right? And folks aren't vaccinated. Um, we've got this Delta variant. There's a Delta plus, there's this thing going to mutate again. What's going to happen in the fall? And we have an actual flu season with this COVID. Um, we've got the eviction moratorium that's going to be over at the end of next month. So, yeah, man, man, I think it's going to be a rough winter for a lot of people. And this country has spent, I mean, the world really, but this country has spent an exorbitant amount of resources on this pandemic. Um, and eventually they're going to have to turn off the spigot. They can't keep printing money, right? We see gas prices are rising. We see the cost of food rising. We see that grocery stores there's been a run on grocery stores as far as them buying up food, um, anticipating the rise in meat costs and things of that nature. There's a lot of things that we should be um, taking stock of and paying attention to. There's a lot of things, as I was saying to Rev yesterday, there's a lot of distractions that are in the world, just along with us just trying to live our lives and just survive day to day. But we do need to look up, every now and then and say, okay, what is going on out here? And what do I need to do to make sure that myself and my family are going to be okay? That it's really important. I know we're busy, we're trying to work it out, we're trying to figure it out. Um, but these are some trying times, and I believe that these times are only going to get harder and they're going to get worse. And I can tell you that many agencies are, some of them have gone away, right? They don't exist anymore. Others are doing what they can to hang on. And so if we go through this again, I doubt that the government is going to go back to that level again of just saying, hey, you know what, everybody stay home. We're just going to go ahead and pay everyone to stay home, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. And even when that was happening, um, it wasn't enough for a lot of people, right? I mean, we had the landlords on. So while, we were telling folks to stay home, well, if they can't get their rent, then they can't pay their mortgage, right? And then they potentially lose their homes. And we know that these banks are not friendly. And so if you've ever had any issues with the bank, you know how that goes, right? So they're too big to fail and they get bailed out, but the landlords don't get bailed out and the residents don't get bailed out. And then we're kind of left to fight amongst each other, while everyone, while the entities, just, do their things. So, yeah, as much as we can create and cultivate relationships, create small communities, this is a great time for you to learn how to cook. If you don't know how to do that, this is a great time for you to learn how to maybe grow food, even if you're just growing a few things. If you've got a community, maybe you grow tomatoes and this person grows sage and some other things and thyme and whatnot, and you can barter and trade, right? I'll give you some of my tomatoes and you can have some of this. You've got to start, kind of getting back to basics, right? And trying to figure out how we can support each other to do the things that we need to do. When toilet paper was being bought out, we had to work together to make sure that we were able to get toilet paper, right? And so some of the things that we did was, look, we never close, so we need toilet paper for the company and the individuals that are coming in and are keeping the organization going. They also need toilet paper. So that may mean, hey, look, we're going to go and we're going to scour, we're going to split up, and we're going to get this big roll of get what we can, and we're going to split it to ensure that everybody has what they need, right? So if you find it, you go ahead and get some, and then we'll share it with each other to make sure that we're okay. Um, and so these are things that, you don't want to try to get ready once you're in the crisis. You want to prepare so that when the crisis comes, you're already ready, right? There's so many different things for us to have to learn when that crisis hits, and that learning curve is high, and there's not a lot of support because other people are also in that crisis too, right? And so it makes it, we laugh sometimes, uh, in general, right? At the preppers, right? People that just seem, you might have seen them on YouTube or on TV, and it's like, they've got these big storehouses and they've got their spot in the woods and this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, you're hyper vigilant and that you're going too far, but those folks are prepared and they're ready when something happens. They're done. Your job, your school, they have evacuation plans, they have emergency management that's set in place, right? If this happens, this is how you egress to your location, and this is where we're going to meet. This is how we're going to keep in touch with each other, and this is how we're going to go forward. So it really is important for us to do that, and I don't think enough of us do that. Right? We're just kind of, again, we're existing. Life is hard. We're doing our thing, and when we deal with so much drama and issues in our worlds, the last thing we want to do is say, "Hey, I finally got a break. Okay, let's start prepping for just in case." Right? So it and I get it. There's only so much time and bandwidth that we have, and we already have limited resources, right? But it's just like they say, you should have 3 to 6 months of money saved up to cover your expenses. And while that's not realistic for everyone, you got to start somewhere. Can you get a week? Can you get, 8 days? I think, when we set goals too, sometimes we set these goals based on what they say we should do. And if we can't do that, we don't do it at all. Right. So it's like, okay, well, you want me to have 6 months of savings? There's no way for me to get 6 months of savings. So I'm just not going to save. Right. And it's like, okay, no, you don't have 6 months of savings right now. And even when you look at your budget, you can't see how you can even attempt to try to get there. But can you get a day? Can you get 3 days? Right? Can you get a week? Can you build on those things? And so you set your goals smaller. You see what kind of things that you can do away with, or what things you can decrease. What kind of synergies can you get? Um, and make those things, start to build those economies to scale up. What kind of unique things can you do? Are you picking up someone's kids and taking them somewhere? What can they do for you? Can they tutor the kids? Or what, you make some bomb spaghetti. It's pretty cheap to make, and you can make so much of it that you can feed my house and your house. And when I cook this meal over here, I'll cook more, because I don't have to have chicken and ground beef, right? I'm just going to add a little bit more, or thin it out a little bit and make more for both households, and then have our resources stretch even more. But we have to be intentional about that. We need to be intentional about that. And those are going to be the things that get us through. And if you look back, and look at the stories on communities that are able to come together and take care of each other. The ones that you'll see them cook and take food to the elderly, or someone is sick, or someone passes away, and all this food shows up, right? These these um, you know these these opportunities exist. We just need to cultivate and take advantage of it. And so, I would say, if you can create little small pods of folks that are saying, hey, you know what, I can do this, and this is what I'm willing to do. I can do this over here, and I'm willing to do that, and start kind of building that in, right? And trying to build and create a surplus for yourself and your family. I think that's really important. Being useful to others is a tremendous, makes you an asset. Um, so just consider that. Think of what you have. What are your knowledge, skills, and abilities that you can leverage and help others with, and help them to better sustain and be resilient and persistent through whatever it is that they may need to face, right? And what gaps do you need to try to fill? You can't be MacGyver and do everything, right? But what are some things that you can do to improve your situation? Um, some things that's like, you know what, I've been wanting to do that for a while. So one thing that I want to do, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna happen this year. I want to do it, but I'm just not going to put the time, the effort into it. Someone would have to drag me, and I might be willing to go. But I want to get into being able to live outside, right? Being able to camp, going out into the woods. I want to be able to start a fire. I want to be able to pitch a tent. I want to be able to, go fishing in a creek, to scale and prepare fish. I'd love to get to the point where I can, you know, sustain outside. Um, it's not in an RV or in a hotel in the city that I'm trying to, take a little hike on, and be outside in a tent and be good, be okay, and not feel like, oh my God, I'm starving, I'm freezing, I'm gonna die if someone doesn't take care of me. I think that those things are really important, and we forget about that. I was never really a big camper growing up, and then as I got older, I got bougie. So my idea of camping is a hotel that's really nice. So there there is that, but I see the need for it, right? We saw what happened in Texas during the snow of all times. We think of brownouts and blackouts during the heat in the summer. We don't think about it when it's freezing and it's snowing, and you have no power, and it's freezing. It's colder inside your house, or just as cold as it is outside, and both are freezing, and you have no way to keep yourself warm, and there's nowhere for you to go, right? I think that people didn't have access to water. I mean, it was a bad situation in Texas when that grid went down in the winter. And so, these things can and are likely to happen, right? Especially when we have political gridlock and we can't get anything done. And then at the same time, we have all this money. So money that we probably could have used on infrastructure, if they could have agreed on doing that, has been diverted for this crisis, right? And now we've got wildfires and everything else, and um, this, that, and the other. So they got to take care of these things too, and there's just only so much money. We've got an increasing homeless issue. We have unaffordable housing. We have healthcare challenges. Folks that have COVID or got COVID, the long haulers. That are having these extended long symptoms are going to need continuous medical care, right? We've got the advancement of automation and technology. That means that many of the jobs aren't going to come back because, hey, we found out we could do more with less. We can remote work. We don't need all these staff or employees. We only need an engineer to make sure that the robots work, and we don't need all the people there, right? I mean, just think of all the people that have been replaced just in the last 10 or 15 years already, right? TSA agents, you go in and you can check your own baggage now. You can just, you know, um, are there any, what do they call those? Are they sky hops, bell hops? You pull up to the airport and, there's a person there to take your luggage right at the door, I don't know if they still do that. I think they do it sometimes, but typically, I mean, you could walk right in, check your own check luggage, hit the buttons, and go on, through the clearance check and go on about your day, right? And you don't see a soul up there to actually physically help you. Or you go into a McDonald's. I don't know if you've been into the McDonald's that are really automated. I went into a McDonald's, what was that, a year and a half ago? And it was like there were some people at the front counter and they were like, hey, no, go behind and press on the big reader board what your order is. I'm like, but you're right there. Yeah, but we're teaching people how to use this. Well, why? Because soon they're not going to need me here. You'll just come in and do that or punch it on the app and come through, and then you'll just pick up your food, right? So we don't need you. Oh, we don't need a bagger. We don't need these checkers. We got these self checkers. The more of these that we can put in, we just need the mechanics to keep these things going, right? So you see these things more and more, right? On top of outsourcing jobs to China and India and all kinds of other places. So that becomes an issue. And so what are you supposed to do to make a livable wage, one, with whatever your skill is, and then how are you supposed to provide for yourself and your family? So these are things that I really want folks to be thinking about as they go forward, because there is going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth as we go and get into these crises that are coming faster, and they're more. I mean, could you have imagined, COVID 2 years ago, 2018? I mean, could you imagine the world shutting down and having more than a half a million people die in the United States in a year? I mean, that's crazy to even think about, but it happened, right? And so what's next? And there are many of us in this country that already had it tremendously hard before anything like COVID thought about rearing its head, right? So now you're facing, all of your challenges, you know, and then COVID hits on top of it. And then you have a snow issue like happened in Texas, where we got the wildfires, so we got triple digit heat, right? We've got, there's just too many things that are going on right now. So we have to find a way to, um, like I said, create these relationships together, and find out a way to, um, just really build a sense of community. And if you're seeing a lot of civil unrest and you're fatigued with people being stupid and angry and the death and the violence and everything else, you can counteract that and counterbalance that by establishing relationships in your community or with other people, and being intentional about that, and trying to cancel that out. I think where we lose is when we kind of retreat and we say, hey, all this stuff is going on in the world, so I'm just going to try to protect myself and lock myself down and just not worry about these folks out here. Maybe I'm concerned about my family and whatnot, but that's all I'm really worried about. I don't think that's the answer, right? Um, because it's just growing, right? All of this violence and just this unrest. People are just, their souls are not in a good space right now. um so I really do believe, to counteract that, we have to be intentional about trying to find ways to work with each other, to work through whatever our issues are, what our potential conflicts are, and try to find a way forward for the betterment of ourselves and the people that depend on us, to look after them, and take care of them. So, that's my ask of you this evening. I know I said I was only going to be on here for a short time, and that's like, okay, my mind is cooking, is percolating as it usually does. But I think it's important, like I said. I think. How many times do I say I think? I'm glad that I'm not an person. Uh, but I should try to get away from I think. Think about uh not I think, but think about what you say and how often you say it when you're speaking, right? There's always ways for you to improve what it is that you're doing. But like I said, I came on. They're the folks from Farmers to Families to drive through on Thursday, tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Out there at 4202 Wheaton Way in Bremerton. God's Broken Home and Boost Mobile are putting on this event where they hand out free food. They've been doing this on Thursdays. Many of you already know about this, but their trailer was stolen. And as I said, that is a pretty vile thing to have had happen. So if you know or have any information on where this trailer is or anyone that has taken possession of this trailer, the license plate is Oscar Kilo 8583 Golf Echo. Okay, it is a big white 2009 dry van. You see the lettering on the side there, MEQZ 901311. So if you know where this trailer is, please let someone know. Again, this trailer is used to bring food into our county, to get it into the mouths of people, which is tremendously important. So, um, it's a particularly heinous act to steal a trailer. I mean, that's pretty crazy, but it is used to feed people. So, again, please look out for that trailer. If you know anything about it, you can contact me, or you can let the folks know that do the food program on Thursday. Many of you know who these folks are, and you know where to get in touch with them. But again, if you contact me, I'll make sure that they get the information. Again, tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. In collaboration with God's Broken Home University and Boost Mobile, 4202 Wheaton Way, Bremerton, Washington. They do ask that you keep your mask on. Do not get out of your car. Just drive up. Make sure that your trunk is empty and cleaned out so that they can load it up full of food. Okay. And that is tomorrow. As I said before, I will work to get uh, the name and the contact information of the Black mental health counselor that is here in Bremerton. I believe, again, that he is in the Minette area. Uh, but it is important not to just focus on our physical health, but to also focus on our mental health. Uh, there is no time like the present. So I encourage you to jump on it. We don't have to wait for New Year's. We don't have to wait for the first. Doesn't have to be a Monday. Doesn't have to be the beginning of the week. Doesn't have to be leap year. Doesn't have to be a blue moon. Doesn't have to be a blood moon. You know what I'm saying? It could be any time you want it to be. So maybe, hopefully, it's tomorrow for you. But even if you're not talking to a mental health counselor, please seek out someone that you trust, so that you can have conversations with them. Someone that you can, vent to when you're frustrated. Someone that is going to keep your information in confidence, that isn't going to betray you. If you don't have those people in your life, I encourage you to start creating those relationships, because it takes time for you to get to know these folks and establish that level of trust where you can share that information. So that is what I encourage you to do. We will be back soon. Like I said, I am heading out. I'll be on the East Coast here for the next week. But I'm probably going to do the podcast from the road. So we'll see what I get into on the East Coast. I'll be in Virginia. Uh, so until next time, I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. Have a good Thursday and have an even better Friday.